So, next topic is, believe it or not, Ghostbusters.
Oh,
So
that's on.
Ghostbusters Afterlife. Say it again.
Oh.
I'm just trying to break your balls, man.
Oh yeah, ectoplasm. Is that what? Right. Anyway, Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is an interesting turn of events because they're not going with the same director. So they're going, right, previous cast returning, perfect, cool, but brand new director, which I was really surprised with because I thought they were kind of doing it as a bit of a, I don't know, like Reitman was doing it as a bit of a love letter, wasn't he? So this is surprising news. This is an exclusive to Deadline. It released earlier today after successfully relaunching the franchise with 2021's Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is amazing to think it released last year now. God damn. Sony Pictures is ramping up pre-production on the sequel with the film's writer and executive producer, Jill Keenan, set to take over directing the reins. Sources tell Deadline that Jason Reitman, who directed the previous pick, will move into the writer-producer role. So still kind of there. Alongside co-scribe Keenan and Jason Blumenfeld. Insiders add that Ghostbusters Afterlife ensemble that includes Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon is on board to return. Now, they released some statements here anyway. It's an absolute honor to pick up the Proton Pack and step behind the camera for the next chapter of the Spengler family saga, said Keenan. I just wish I could go back to 1984 and tell the kid in the 6th row of the Man Valley West that one day he was going to get to direct a Ghostbusters film. And obviously, there's not much known about the sequel. Sources do say, however, that the plan is to return to New York City and the iconic firehouse made famous in the original Ghostbusters film. And it's slated for a December 2023 release, so it'll be pretty soon. We'll start learning more about it pretty soon. So it's interesting. They do say, so Reitman, again, this is the interesting stuff about this, is that he's still involved, but I would have thought that he would have kept going with it. So he says, a few years ago, my father handed me the keys to Ecto 1, and together we made Ghostbusters Afterlife. Words will never express how grateful I am to have made a film with my father by my side. It's now time to hand those keys to my creative partner and fellow Ghostbuster, Jill Keenan, a brilliant director who will keep the Spengler spirit alive, and I can only hope to provide him the same producerial care and support that my father showed me. I like this film. I thought it was fine. Pretty non-offensive, all things considered. It's not the best film out there, but it was a bit of a good, dumb fun. I'm keen to see a return. I'm keen to see another one. Hopefully, they spend a little bit more time on the ghost this time because they've established everything. But what do you guys think? Is this good? Is this bad? What do you think?
I didn't watch the last one. There's only 2 Ghostbusters movies.
Oh my god!
Oh, you didn't see the last one, Anna?
Why? Let's put it this way. Why didn't you want to watch it? Because that's an interesting conversation in and unto itself.
I didn't want to leave my house.
Derail my bloody stream. Nick, what do you think about Ghostbusters Afterlife? Did you watch it? Did you like it?
I did go see it in theaters. I thought it was very well done. Again, I agree with you, though. I didn't think it was like the best film. I thought I don't think there's ever going to be one that's going to even touch the original. But I thought it was handled with care. I thought it was handled with respect to what came before it. I thought the characters were handled well. Well, the only thing that I wish they would have done different was to have the original cast of the Ghostbusters in it a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree.
It was too much with the kids and all that, which they were fine. I didn't really have an issue with them, but I really wanted to see more of the original cast. And I don't know if they've said one way or another if the original cast is coming back for the second one and if they're going to play a bigger role in it or not.
There's no statement about that, and you know what? I would imagine probably not.
Mainly... I mean, we see Winston going in at the end, credits into the old firehouse, and he buys it. So that would make me think that he's going to be involved, but it might also be in a very small capacity like it was in this last film. But as long as we're not getting like Ghostbusters 2016 level garbage, then I'm all for it, you know, and the fact that Reitman's involved in it, I'm not sure why he's kind of stepping back
It's
as a
interesting, isn't it?
director role, but the fact that he's still going to be a producer and he's going to be over the writing of it gives me some bit of hope for the film. So I'm interested. I'm gonna probably definitely keep up with it, and pending anything crazy happening, I mean, I'll probably go out and watch it and support the film.
Well, like the rest of the films that Keenan's directed is they're not a lot. He did Monster House, City of Ember, A Boy Called Christmas.
Never seen any or heard any of these.
Yeah, so for Monster House, he
Remember.
earned Best Animated Feature Oscar. So not bad, obviously. And then Golden Globe nominations as well for Monster House as well. So I mean, pretty good. Like, but that's an animated feature. But then maybe they're going to lean more into the kiddie aspect, you know. But then the new cast have grown up a lot since then. I mean, this was filmed in what, like 2019, 2020, and then released in 2021. This will be filmed, well, presumably now 2023, and then released 2023, which is
Yeah, they're basically all
a
adults
crazy
now.
turnaround.
Yeah,
But they'll be significantly older. I mean, because they were reasonably youngish. In that film, but kids age really quickly on film. You know, like you watch them between a movie and a few years older, you're like, oh wow, Jesus, you're like much older. You know, it's a significant change on a perception of age. But that's a really quick turnaround as well. You know, the fact that it's slated for a December 23 next year, literally a year's time release, but they haven't even started filming yet.
it's very
That's a quick
turnaround.
turnaround. It's a really quick turnaround for what you'd imagine. But this is the interesting thing, because the budget for Ghostbusters Afterlife wasn't huge. And that's an effects-heavy film. And you know, when you look at the budgets for these other films, and they're equally as effects-heavy, but they're insanely high. You're like, where the fuck is the money going?
As well as the last one did, I'm curious if the budget for this one increased at all. I would think
so there's no statement on the budget. Although interestingly, the article does note that, you know, it was a success. You know, they're like, after the success of Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I don't think it was a financial success. I think it was a critical success. Reitman and Keenan did sign an overall producing deal with Sony Pictures. So, I mean, they obviously thought it was enough to quickly do that.
Yeah, it looks like it made a little bit of money. The first one had a budget of $75 million.
It's so small.
Yeah, and then of course with marketing on top of that, I mean, you're probably looking at maybe 150 million, maybe total that they probably spent. But by the time it hit theaters, and then it made 204 million. So it made a little bit.
No, it didn't. That wouldn't have broken even. Unless it did exceptionally well on downloads or something like that. But that wouldn't have broken even on box office receipts.
Yeah, that's just the box office.
Interesting. But I mean, they quickly pushed that out. Anyway, I mean, they signed them up really quickly. They were ready to go with another one really quickly. So, I mean, they must have obviously counted it as a success. Maybe they're trying to play the long game.
Beforehand.
Say that again?
Maybe they planned it out beforehand. Like maybe Bill Murray was like, all right, I'll only do it if you do X, Y, and Z.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. But it's interesting nonetheless. Like, I think the only major detractor there is that, you know, he's not going to be the
director.
Directing it. So, yeah, interesting stuff.